Welcome. We have two appeals that both go back 20 years. We've a baby with us tonight and a story with a happy ending. We're live, as always. There are 40 detectives here and BBC researchers all here waiting to take your call, and the lines will be open up till midnight. The studio number, as always, 0500 600 600.
And it takes just one call to the programme to make a difference. Last month we had some fantastic results, which have put Crimewatch in the headlines. Last month, thanking viewers who'd helped solve the Michael Menson murder, Deputy Assistant Commissioner John Grieve mentioned he'd soon seek help from Crimewatch with another racist killing, that of Stephen Lawrence.
Well, this is a very positive inquiry. Maybe next month, maybe the month after, I'll be back.
As a result of that, a new witness has already contacted the police. And with this information, John Grieve will next month launch a big appeal. For 3 months, we've appealed about a baby who was kidnapped, little Daniel Grimshaw. 6 men are now in custody, charged with his abduction. Thanks to one Crimewatch viewer, Daniel was rescued with the help of the local community. And here he is. So how is he? Amy, is he any the worse for his ordeal?
No, he's brilliant. He's really, really well. You'd never know that he'd been away.
Did you notice any changes in him?
No, not really, but when we got in the car, he used to crouch down and sit on the floor.
He used to hide?
Yeah.
He was obviously told to do that?
Yeah, but apart from that, he's okay.
Well, he's pretty keen to get away, get away now, is he? What must it have been like for you, though? 11 weeks he went missing.
It was a nightmare, not knowing where he was or who he was with. It was horrible.
And Stuart, how helpful were the community, the local community, in trying to track Daniel down?
We're very grateful for the work that community leaders put into it. I think that's as a result of the hard work that we've made to build these relationships. But I think as well, we've got to say a big thank you for Crimewatch. Tremendous effort. Over 3 months you've been helping us, and as a result of just one of those calls, we were able to find out where Daniel was and get him back. So big thank you to the local community, big thank you to Crimewatch.
Oh, well, that's terrific. We all really cared about this case. We weren't going to let it drop. It's fantastic to have you here. Daniel's wandered off now. Someone's looking after him. But thanks very much both for coming in.
Almost 20 years ago, the country was transfixed by the murder of a 14-year-old in Hampshire, Marion Crofts. But her killer has never been caught. Then, last autumn, came a scientific breakthrough that's unlocked new evidence. And tonight, at long last, prompted by what you're about to see, someone might just open up their heart and call in with their suspicions.
The body of Marion Crofts was found in the woods
near the Basingstoke Canal at Farnborough.
a shoe and sock. It could be a long one. I'm still optimistic that it won't be a long one, but it could well be, and we're planning that it may go on for another week or two.
One of the nastiest that I've ever been involved in. On the scale of 1 to 10, I suppose you'd have to say 10. Everybody who worked on it was affected. Most of us had children, and I can't think of much more devastating than to lose a child, and to lose a child through murder is double devastation.
Still don't understand now. A girl can go off in the middle of the morning and ride a bicycle and not come back.
Makes you wonder what Marion would have been like. Yeah. It wasn't to be.
I've never been down there since. We've walked along the canal to nearly there, and I don't think I could. Because I'm a coward. I don't know.
Hey!
Ruth, don't forget this. You can collect your sponsorship money.
Sarah, are you ready? We're going to be late.
Come
on,
I'm
love.
coming.
You know what the parking's like down there. Come on. Oh, Marion, I pumped up your tyres last night, love, all right?
Oh, thanks,
okay,
Dad.
Bye. Come on, you two. Bye.
Bye.
I think maybe she was a bit the apple of his eye, being the baby. She was a good pupil at school. Well, wasn't particularly naughty. She was musical, of course. She was quite a serious child. At 14, she decided she was going to be a teacher. I think she'd probably have done it, given the chance.
On Saturday, Marion cycled from her home in Fleet to a school in Farnborough, where she rehearsed with a local youth orchestra.
Yeah.
Laffans Road runs beside the Basingstoke Canal. It's familiar to anglers and joggers and to generations of soldiers who train at Aldershot Camp.
Did you see that? Strange place to take a bite.
Strange place, isn't it?
Yeah.
Clarinet.
So no sign of Marion?
No.
She'll be fine. I'm gonna go.
Bye.
I rang the home of the little girl who would have gone with her.
Hello, it's Marion's mum here. Did she come back with you?
And her mother said that Marion hadn't been there at all that day, and that was when we got worried. I rang the hospital and asked if a little girl had been brought in who'd sort of come off her bicycle or anything, or been knocked off her bicycle. Something had gone very wrong. I certainly didn't think of what it was. It didn't run through my mind of what had happened. I just thought perhaps there'd been an accident.
It's Marion's. It's her sponsorship form.
Mum? Mum? Oh my God. Marion! 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 Wait! Wait! Let's get the police.
There was no way I'd let her go up there, or myself, because I was afraid of what we might find.
I'll phone from the golf club.
Marion was so well hidden, it took a police dog to locate her. Her body had been camouflaged with brambles and undergrowth. She'd been raped and battered on the head.
What in life can be worse? If only I'd taken her that morning. If only I hadn't gone and played cricket. But you have to live with that. Every day.
There must be a Crimewatch viewer who knows what happened, or at least has suspicions but hasn't come forward. Perhaps because they fear they could be wrong. Maybe somebody covered for a friend. And did anyone ask you to tell a white lie, to give them an alibi? Do you know someone who was in Hampshire in the summer of 1981, perhaps at the Aldershot Army Camp or just nearby, that raises suspicions in you? Did his behaviour alter at the time? Has he been uncomfortable watching the reconstruction? Now, with DNA evidence, any name can be easily and emphatically ruled out. Just tell us who. The number's 0500 600 600, that's always on the screen, or you can try 01 962 871 402.
Having always lived at home, 18-year-old Emma Holly had just moved nearer to Salisbury, so it'd be easier to get to college. Last Wednesday, she set off from her new home to catch a bus to Salisbury. Somehow, she was struck by a car and thrown along the road. Two following cars just had time to swerve and managed to avoid her, but the next one hit her. All those three motorists stopped, shocked and appalled by what had happened. Emma was killed, but whoever struck her in the first place just kept on driving. Please help find that driver. Did you see the incident at 6 in the evening last Wednesday on the A338 at Downton between Salisbury and Bournemouth? Did you see a red VW Golf on that road? It was later found burnt out nearby. Did you call on the evening to report the incident? Ring the studio or 01380 722 341.
A couple of months ago, there was a short but nasty robbery on a convenience store in Walthamstow, East London. These two men burst in with pickaxe and a baseball bat, astonishing the shopkeepers who bravely managed to fight them off. The men ran away empty-handed. Who are they? Both in their early 20s with brown hair and local accents. Give us a call, 0500 600 600 or 0181 345 4082.
Boxing Day at Willesden Junction in North London, and a particularly barefaced robbery. A passenger walking onto the platform is followed by this character. And a moment later his accomplice. Then, out of camera shot, he's threatened with a knife and pulled back into the waiting area. There they took his wallet and they went through the contents. He's then frog-marched away to a bank where they stole more of his money. Nice boys these, and they are young boys. Call us before they really hurt someone. 0500 600 600 or 0171 387 0354.
In April last year, we appealed for 7 men after serious football violence at a Manchester City match. 3 of those we showed have been identified by viewers, convicted of violent disorder and imprisoned. Quite separately, help locate Liam Roy Slack. He's believed to be in London, but wherever he is, let us know. We appealed about the terrible death of Michael Wheatley, who was robbed on his way home, tied up and thrown into a canal to drown. As a direct result of a call to Crimewatch, 2 men have been charged with Michael's murder.
When you think of Brighton and Hove, you probably think of lovely seaside resorts, friendly places with a holiday atmosphere. That was the impression of one young woman who was thinking of moving there. She decided to stay with her best friend in Hove to celebrate New Year's Eve before she finally made up her mind. But she saw a very different side to the town.
Every time I told one of my friends I was moving to Brighton, they always said, "Oh, you're so lucky." I'll never know what it would have been like. I definitely don't want to ever go there to live now. The best thing about that night really was the fireworks. It was kind of jam-packed. And at that moment I thought, right, okay, I don't really want to be here, and it would be quite nice just to finish the night off with a walk.
No, seriously, what are you doing?
The map for Becky, she's going home.
Oh.
Are you sure you're going to be okay? You can go back to the last party if you want.
No, I'll be fine, honestly. I just want to go home.
Okay, well, you walk along the front, you take a right up the drive, take a left down Wilbury Avenue, and that leads you straight to Newtown Road. Have you got those short? Okay, bye.
Because New Year isn't a big deal to me anyway, it sort of didn't matter. It's like I hadn't psyched myself up to have a great time.
I think we might be able to just pass it without noticing. Excuse me, can you tell me what the drive is?
Yeah, you're way past it. It's way back there.
All right, thank you. Excuse me, I wonder if you can help me. I'm trying to find Newtown Road.
I mean, I've got a terrible sense of direction at the best of times, but I was quite drunk.
The most crucial witness was walking down Sackville Road at 5 a.m. on New Year's Day. Were you there? Did someone in her 20s ask you the way?
I was talking to someone, walking with him sort of for a minute or something.
Well, I thought the Newtown Road was up there, but I've been up there and no one seems to know a thing. Oh, do you know or can you show me the turning to Newtown Road?
Yeah, it's just up here on the right. I'll show you the way.
Oh.
So far, every time I'd asked someone for help, I'd just been lucky enough to encounter the nicest people.
God, it's a bit of a maze around here, isn't it? Thought I'd never get home.
Oh, what? Are you from not around here then?
No.
Funnily enough, it was at that point I thought Brighton's probably going to be all right.
There's a shortcut through here.
He was so kind of nondescript and inconsequential. Everything I remember about him is from when he was raping me. He had the same expression the whole time. Dark, beady eyes, not much definition in his cheekbones or his mouth.
You know what I'm going to do now, don't you? You don't want me to slap you about, do you? You don't want me to beat you up and do exactly what I say.
I'd never let anyone, even consentingly do those things, and yet I didn't even feel like I had the power to put up a fight.
I don't care. You can do what you like. It's your word against mine, isn't it?
Meanwhile, 2 passers-by were seen by a woman walking home at the time of the attack. This is Rutland Gardens at 6 a.m. Both these men are witnesses we need to trace.
Come on, get a move on. You nicked something off me, haven't you?
No, I haven't, honestly.
Right, I've got to put you somewhere.
He raped me in 2 spots, and he made me walk from one place to the other completely naked.
You got any money on you?
20 quid. Do you want it?
Give us a tenner. You're a lucky girl. You've been thinking about that all night, haven't you?
Yeah.
Just sit there and don't leave for 10 minutes.
How will I know when that is?
You know what 10 minutes is, don't you? I could do away with you right now, couldn't I?
He's just this pathetic pervert who has these enormous delusions about women and about sex. He doesn't know anything about me, he doesn't care who I am, and yet he's walked into my life completely uninvited and turned it all around. It's made me have to deny myself all the normal things that I think I should be able to take for granted, like my freedom, like having normal relationships and all the rest of it.
This man has raped before. We know that from a DNA match in Brighton in February 1998. Any rape is a terrible thing, but these assaults are particularly distressing. Detective Superintendent Ken Probert thinks the details, although they're upsetting, may help to catch the man. Now, could this man have attacked other women?
Yes, we believe there's a very good chance he has. These women were particularly humiliated by the attacks. We know that on 2 occasions, for example, he's used both oral and anal intercourse. He's also tried to use his hand to penetrate the woman as well. We believe at times he may have even used prostitutes and gone through similar acts with them.
Now, these details are almost more than we can bear to hear, really, but what's particularly chilling is that this man really thinks that these women are enjoying this.
Yes, he's used one particular phrase on both occasions which has put more effort into it, and you've seen there on the reconstruction the suggestion that the woman was waiting for that all evening, and that's something that she wanted. So yes, there are some common phrases he's using.
And what else do we know about him?
Well, we do know that he has connections to Brighton. In fact, the first rape in 1998 was in Brighton. Perhaps he's got some friends or relatives in the area, or perhaps he has night shelter accommodation. Perhaps he's even homeless in the Brighton area.
Now, this attack happened in the grounds of a day centre. Is that significant, do you think?
Well, he clearly knew Aldrington House, and that's significant in itself. But also the victim described that he has a very slow and deliberate speech. It might have been, of course, that he's been in care at some time in the past or even now. And there may be care workers out there who recognise this man either from the phrases that I've used or from the EFIT, and we're asking them to come forward tonight and let us know who he is.
And there's also one key witness in particular you want to hear from, isn't there?
Yes, absolutely. There is a man who was with our victim when she met the offender in the Sackville Road, Newchurch Road area. Unfortunately, the victim was so traumatised she can't give us a great description of this man. She describes him as 5'8" or 9. He's a middle-aged man with grey hair, with receding hair at the temples. And this man might not know, because it was New Year's Day, that anything significant has happened. And what we're asking now for him to come forward. He might even know, the victim says, he might even know our offender.
OK, let's see what we can do, Ken Probert. Thanks very much. All that detail speaks for itself. He's very dangerous, and yet, even more frighteningly, he may well think his behaviour is normal. And he wants to believe he's giving sexual pleasure to his victims. If anything Ken Probert's been describing sounds familiar to you, reminds you of anyone, please give us a ring. If it's the wrong person, the police can eliminate him with DNA. And you must remember where you were on New Year's Eve. In fact, it was New Year's Day early in the morning. If you were in the Newchurch Road area around 5 or 6 a.m, just let us know. 0845 60 70 999. And if you've been a victim and would like to talk to someone at Victim Support Line, there'll be people there till 2 a.m. The number's 0845 30 30 900.
Just had a quite interesting call here on the Marion Crofts murder. I might tell you a little bit more about that later on. Last month's biggest response by far came from a series of rapes in Bath.
I'm going to lift your blindfold now, and don't look at me.
The rapist likes to rip his victims' tights, and many women, including several prostitutes, rang in about that. And 6 other victims came forward, 2 of whom have officially now been linked to the same attacker. But crucially, we need to hear again from one woman who said that she too was attacked in March 1993 as she left the telephone box in Vane Street. She knows details that could solve this investigation, but she ended the conversation having given only her first name. Now please, if you're watching, detectives have set up a free phone number pretty much just for you. Your anonymity is guaranteed by law. No one need find out about it unless you want them to. You'll be treated, I promise you, with the utmost sympathy, and you could well stop other women from being attacked. So please call. Free phone number 0800 169 1926.
This is an armed robbery in Torquay in Devon just after New Year. Here's the robber coming into the bank, and we can also see him earlier wandering around the town. Here's his face again and again and again. And this is the same man a few months earlier in Paynton, which is not far away. Not much you can tell from this photo, but imagine being threatened with a gun like this. So who is this man? He's dangerous and he needs catching. 01803 841 229. And we need to find Fred Kanyuengwi, who uses other names as well, including Fred Macca, Benson and Humber. Now, last November, 12 men were gathered round a TV at a house in Northampton watching the Holyfield-Lewis boxing match. Now, one of the lads was overexcited and got in the way, and suddenly one of the others leapt up and stabbed him 4 times in the abdomen. Everyone fled, but an ambulance was called and paramedics found Emmanuel Muchoki, who by then crawled out of the house but was barely alive. Now, thankfully, Emmanuel survived, but we need to find Fred Kanyuengwi. After the attack, he went to London. We know he went to hospital where a stab wound in his right leg was stitched up. But where is he now? He may be in East or West Ham. Give us a ring. 01604 700 700.
A man with a hard hat, and it's also proved a hard case to solve. He's been posing as a building site foreman who goes into banks in the City of London pretending he needs to withdraw money for his workmen. In fact, he's using credit cards stolen from people working in office blocks. Up until now, he's targeted banks which have a building site nearby to give him more authenticity. Watch out for him. 0171 601 2222. And an off-licence in Widnes, Cheshire a few months back. A gunman bursts in and threatens staff who manage to lock themselves in the back as his accomplice, who's obviously very agitated, gets the drawer out of the cash till. Now outside there was a driver waiting for them in a stolen car. These are the best pictures we've got of him. Who is he? Now we know he likes shops with alcohol, as here he is stealing drink from various supermarkets. Take a close look. 01244 614 234. Now there's a big reward and you can claim it if you've information leading to a conviction by calling Crime Stoppers anonymously if you wish on 0800 555 111, and that's good for any of our cases.
Now meet Mr. and Mrs. Earl, Val and John. Tonight we're praying that somebody watching Crimewatch will help end 20 years of agony for them.
In 1980, their daughter Jessie disappeared. She was an art student at Eastbourne College of Art, and the week before a finals she was going home to see her parents for the weekend. But instead, she disappeared. When Val went to her flat, it was as though Jessie had just popped out for a minute. The window was open, her purse was on the side. The police searched walks which Jessie loved to take and read her diaries for clues, but Jessie seemed bright, happy and well balanced.
I walked up the cliffs and climbed to the top. It was so beautiful. I ran most of the way up and down over the cliff tops, my arms spread out like sails. It was like flying.
The family did everything to find her, but for 9 empty years, nothing was heard at all. Then, in 1989, a father flying a kite with his daughter and their dog made a terrible discovery in dense scrubland on Beachy Head. They found a human skull, and police eventually recovered most of Jessie's bones. But the only item of clothing was her bra, which was knotted. Perhaps it had been used to tie her up, or even kill her.
John, it's been a terrible, terrible time for you. You've always believed there was foul play.
I don't think there's any doubt at all that Jessie was murdered.
And what do you feel can be done after all this time? I mean, however many people are watching tonight, I mean, what can they go on? There's no new forensic evidence, as there is in the Marion Crofts case, for example. I mean, how can people help?
Well, by just telling us anything that they think is relevant, because we've had 9 years of knowing, first of all, absolutely nothing at all about what happened to her, followed by 11 years of knowing that she was dead. And now, perhaps as a result of this, there's a chance that we will know something and make it fair for Jessie. It would be so good.
You say, John, that you're convinced there was foul play, and we talked to the detective responsible for this, Steve Dennis. I should say that the inquest that was carried out came to an open verdict. Steve, what do you think happened?
My personal opinion is that Jessie was murdered.
Now, if that's true, that's partly because of the bra and the way that it was tied. Tell us about that knot and how...
That knot is a left-handed granny knot, and it was tied in such a way that it could have actually bound hands or feet, or could have even been used as a tourniquet.
Is that something that's been seen in other similar crimes, other police officers might recognise?
We are making those sort of inquiries, and I'm sure that if there are officers out there that have had similar crimes like this, that they ought to get in touch with us.
Now, I've already said you're looking for other students who knew or haven't yet been interviewed by you or your officers.
Yes.
We've just heard from John and Val. They're praying that somebody's, if not got a conscience, at least had a suspicion all this
20
time.
years is an awful long time, and I'm convinced that there's somebody out there that's got a secret or suspects something. We're still missing Jessie's watch and her rings, and it may very well be the case that a woman in 1980 with a partner or her husband may have given her an unusual present, a second-hand present like a watch or rings, which she may have been suspicious of.
All right, Steve. Well, you know a number. It's always on the screen. There's a local number too. Please help on this. 01323 414 043.
Now let's go back to that story of the rape in Hove. New Year's Eve, we said it happened. In fact, it was 5 or 6 a.m. on New Year's Day. So let's see what we've got. Ken, have we had some calls in?
Yes, we've got 2 new witnesses who've come forward, and one very interesting witness who's come forward saying that they may have seen a man in the sweater down there in Hove on New Year's Eve, New Year's Day.
We've had some names suggested as well.
We have, very interesting.
So good progress there. Let's see what we can get. Please call if you know anything about that rape. The number's 0500 600. It's on the screen all the time.
From last month's programme, 2 men have been arrested after Crimewatch viewers named them from security video showing an armed robbery at a building society in Liverpool. And in another case, 1 man was identified by viewers on a series of deceptions and arrested in Birmingham.
Thank you very much for calling. Bye-bye.
And following an earlier programme, 1 man's been sentenced to 15 years for an armed robbery at York Art Gallery. Another man is awaiting sentence. The arrests were independent of Crimewatch, but the paintings have now all been recovered.
So, let's see if we can solve this crime. It happened at a house in Northamptonshire a month ago. A security guard was held at gunpoint and tied up while burglars broke in to steal a private art collection. 65 paintings were stolen in total, worth around £1.5 million, amongst them 5 Lowrys. Who would have done this robbery, and who would have kept the paintings? These have been notified as stolen to all respectable dealers. If you're ever offered one, ignorance is no defence. It was a vicious robbery. This is an impression of one of the gunmen. He's black, very dark-skinned, tall, maybe 6'4". One of his companions was white, but that's all we know. There is a huge reward. 01604 701 855.
The idea of a fetish can sound a bit of a laugh, and if I tell you we're looking for a man with a leather fetish, the whole thing can sound absurd. In this case, though, the man is seriously dangerous. So much so, he's been attacking women and has injured several, in one case almost strangling someone who was 5 months pregnant.
Before I knew it, I'd just been grabbed by a man dressed completely in black with a hooded face and just demanding my gloves.
All right.
Why she's there, I really don't know.
I think it takes her mind off things.
Yeah.
She's heard from her dad.
Oh, well, that's enough to ruin anybody's day, isn't it? Is he still bringing that old slapper? He's always causing problems. Oh, I'm not surprised. Typical of Dave not to want to give his own daughter away at a wedding. It's probably just an excuse.
Yeah, well, let's not make a big thing of it.
No, won't say a word.
Mrs. Fuller, bring your car. Is your husband
Oh,
in?
right. Oh, no, he's not. He's away for the night. Can he settle up with you tomorrow? Or I can write a cheque for you if you want.
Tomorrow I'll be okay. I'll
Oh,
be there
brilliant.
all day. Just tell him to pass by and see me.
OK.
Yeah?
Oh, thanks. OK, night-night.
You've got nothing better to do, man.
There's no need to feel embarrassed.
Thanks, Dad. But I don't think we'll need to have that little chat for a while yet.
Good girl. Good girl.
What's watching that? I think you'll find what I've got to say.
Oh, God! Don't say it. Shut up, I'll kill you. Don't scream. Don't scream. What are your gloves? Give them to me. Where's your handbag? Where's your handbag? Where's your purse? What's it made of? Right. Show me the door. Right. Open it. Not this door, the other door.
There isn't another door.
Even after the door was unlocked, the man strangled the woman until she was unconscious. These attacks have now happened to at least 18 other women, all in their own homes, and he only seems to be after leather. In one attack, he wore ladies' red leather gloves that were too small. Did they come from a previous burglary, or had he taken them from somebody he knew? In another case, the woman stood her ground, but his behaviour was very strange.
He just stood there and looked at me. He didn't move a muscle. I couldn't see him move at all. I was just so angry that he could dare to come in, a young lad, into my house. I think he was trying to intimidate me. I think he was trying to frighten me, and I thought, oh, he thinks I'm a little old lady who is going to run away.
Eventually, the woman ran to a neighbour's house, while the man ransacked her bedroom and stole a leather purse. The first attacks were in West London, Ealing, Hayes and further south in Wimbledon. Maybe he lived round there. Back in 1996 and 1997, all the attacks were very late at night. He seemed to stop for the whole of 1998, but if you know otherwise, please call. When he resumed in 1999, almost all his attacks were in South East London, an area linked by the Connex network. They were also earlier, mostly in the evening rush hour, so he himself may well be going home from work. And if a woman's wearing leather, maybe he follows them from railway stations. Police want to eliminate this man seen walking behind the woman from Maidstone Hill shortly before she was attacked. Is he the same man seen by the mechanics outside her house?
He looked scruffy, he looked out of place. He had a stubble, short, mousy colour hair, tall, skinny, and it was too cold for him to be standing there.
Tomorrow I'll be okay.
He was about, what, say 6 to 10 feet away, really, and he could have easily overheard us speaking, like her saying she was on her own.
Andy, who are you appealing to tonight?
I'm appealing to any mother, father, friend or relative of this man who's got any suspicions at all. I'm asking them would they please contact me tonight, and I can assure them that I will eliminate these people whose details are given to me as quickly as possible.
The violence that this man is showing, I mean, this is very, very serious.
It's very, very serious, and it's very, very unusual when taken into context with a leather fetish.
And it's getting worse.
It's escalating, the violence is escalating, and I'm very, very worried about what the end result may be.
For some reason the attacks seem to stop in the summer, heaven knows why. Also there's some suspicion that he's not just interested in leatherware but in swimwear too.
Yes, that's correct, yes. It seems that he may well have sated himself during the winter months with a leather fetish, and he's got another fetish, and we believe that that may well be swimwear, and again we would think that's probably using violence to obtain it.
Profilers tell us that he may well hide his fetish from friends and relatives, but maybe not from girlfriends, and that, as you've just heard from Andy, he may have other obsessions too, not just leather. If he's your son, if he's your brother, if he's just an acquaintance and you've noticed something strange about him, think of someone who has reason to spend time in West London and also South East London. And if 2 or more of any of these clues click with you, please give us a call, 0181 695 1212.
Missing 1 lorry, 1 driver and a whole load of jewellery and mobile phones. A couple of months ago, this man turned up for work as usual at a depot in South East London, got into his articulated lorry and drove to collect a consignment of goods in Birmingham. And that was the last they heard of him. The next day, the tractor unit of the lorry was found burnt out in North Woolwich, and a few days later the trailer was found empty in Tooting. He'd even stolen someone else's identity. So who is he? Call 0181 853 1212. James Daniel Sheedy is wanted for robbery, armed robbery. The whole thing ended in farce when the getaway vehicles crashed, but it was serious enough 2 guns were used as well as a hunting knife. Now I must warn you, please don't approach James Sheedy, he could be dangerous. Just give us a call, 01245 464 222.
As a father and a police officer, the offences I found most appalling are adults abusing children. Now here are 2 men wanted for just such crimes. In both cases they befriended families and are then thought to have betrayed their trust by indecently assaulting the children. The first is Peter Mungai. He comes from Kenya and has a softly spoken south of England accent. You may have encountered him trying to set up a contract cleaning business or working as a security guard. And he also likes to call himself a preacher. So give us a call, 0181 345 2635. And Bernard Gibbs. Over Christmas, a family in Chichester took pity on him as he was sleeping rough, and they invited him into their home. What happened then was really unpleasant, as he indecently assaulted their 12-year-old daughter. He called himself Dale at the time, but we know him as Bernard Gibbs. He has tattoos, including a cross between his eyes, and the words Daz and Marty emblazoned on his neck. Call 01243 520 237.
Most of the early calls we've got have been on the Marion Crofts murder. Now, since this is a case that's 20 years old, it's really heartening the number of calls we've had. We've had just in the incident room, sorry, here in the studio, we haven't yet heard from the incident room, we've had 30 new names come in. 1 name has been repeated. And of those 30, almost all have very strong links to the Aldershot area. Several people have named people who were soldiers at nearby Aldershot camp, though that's not by any means the only line of inquiry. Also on the Brighton and Hove rapes, we've got a number of names and rather interesting information coming in, particularly about 1 man, and his name has come in twice. On several of the other cases, we've got, well, in 1 in particular, some information that's so strong, there's not much point in my telling you about it, because I suspect there's going to be some operation going on about that any moment now. Fiona.
Now, think of Christmas, think of Bradford, think of anyone you know who might have got into serious trouble, and you might be able to earn yourself a reward. This is what happened, and we hope to find more witnesses.
Your flight is PK 704 from Manchester to Islamabad on 25th.
Watton Travel in Heaton, Bradford.
Can you just tell me how much your luggage weight on my house?
40 kilos.
The Army Surplus store on Thornton Road, not far away.
Do you have any stripes for combat jackets as well?
No, sorry.
I'll just take these, thanks.
Thank you. Just £6, please. There you go. They walked straight over to the knitwear department and started, the younger Asian youth started sorting through the balaclavas. The white youth was more or less just stood there. They were talking quietly.
Oh, yeah,
the whole being of them made me suspicious that there was up to no good. He then picked up a pickaxe handle and started brandishing it about. That aroused my suspicion. I thought, hello, there's cowboys here.
Just them, please.
£12, please.
I've got a tenner.
It'll have to be 12.
No, just 10 quid, mate. Take it straight.
We're cut to the bone in here.
Are you sure?
Another 2 quid, please.
All right. There you go.
Thank you.
All right, thanks for that. Cheers.
Cheerio, thank you.
It's Wednesday afternoon, 10 days before Christmas. Who were these men?
I went across to the door. I couldn't see the number as it was parked outside the shop, and it wasn't until they drove away across the road that I was able to take the number off the back of the car. I don't remember the first numbers, but it ended in BUB.
3 hours later, back at the travel agents on Lilycroft Road.
Can he bring his bags down, Ruddy?
One of the clerks went to prepare the cash bags for collection. The shop's takings were due to be picked up by a security van.
Just a minute, there's a weird noise at the door. It's like a scraping noise. What?
Mom! Right, let's go, come on. Go. Get on!
The car was a stolen blue Vauxhall Omega parked in Farcliffe Place. Two days later, it was found abandoned in Hollings Terrace in Wetley Hill. Did you see who dumped it there? The guns were real. In other words, the robbers weren't just trying to frighten people, they were prepared to kill. The blue Omega has been traced, but did you see the men driving it? And who owned the red car? Remember, there's a reward. Call 01274 376 285, and there's an Urdu speaker there if you need it.
Our numbers are on CFAX on page 621. You can email us at Crimewatch UK at the BBC. On any case, you can call Crime Stoppers, and the number there, remember, you can call them anonymously if you want, and they've got a special technique there. Even if you want to claim an award, you can remain anonymous. 0800 555 111. And a reminder of what we said last month. If you're going to go to bed now, don't believe the headlines about rising crime figures. Recorded crime can be a good sign that people are more willing to report things, especially sex offences. And this isn't opinion, it's fact. The underlying trend is still crime is going down.
Join us for Crime Watch Update at 11:15. And if that's past your bedtime, see you next month, Tuesday, March the 21st.
Don't have nightmares, do sleep well. Good night.
Good night.
Two separate cases, 20 years old, and both have provoked an astonishing blizzard of calls. We've had some really strong leads on the murder of 14-year-old Marion Crofts, some intriguing suggestions of what's now thought to be the murder of Jessie Earl. And as for the South Coast rapes, well, just listen to this.
We knew we'd get a lot of calls on the rapes in Hove and Brighton, and we have. The case we reconstructed touched a lot of you. The victim had been walking home after celebrating New Year's Eve. She was a visitor to the area and got lost.
Well, I thought the Newtown Road was up there, but I've been up there and no one seems to know a thing. Oh, do you know or can you show me the turning to Newtown Road?
Yeah, it's just up here on the right. I'll show you the way.
Oh,
Come.
thanks. God, it's a bit of a maze around here, isn't it? Thought I'd never get home.
Oh, what? Are you from not around here then?
No, I've been down with some friends. Some fun.
Ken, we've had a lot of calls. What have we got?
Well, we've had a number of ladies, women ringing in saying that they have been victims of rape in the past, which is what we anticipated. One in particular is very interesting. A lady rang in who lived in the Aldrington House area in 1994 and was raped in that area. Has never come forward before. We've been trying to ring her back, and unfortunately we've not been able to get her yet, so we're asking that lady to be available on the end of the phone line to us now. We've also had a police officer who's put a name up of a person that he believes may be the offender who has links to Brighton, and we're taking steps to trace that person. We've also had somebody ring in saying that they know somebody who's a witness to this rape. Now, what exactly that means, we don't know yet, but we're taking steps to try and identify exactly what this person is telling us so that we can trace this the person who may be the witness. May be our vital witness, of course. And finally, there is a lady who keeps ringing in, speaking to PC McClundy. Could she ring him again, please? We really need that lady to ring in again.
So whoever it was who called PC McClundy, please call again. And of course, if anyone's worried about putting names forward, we can eliminate them very quickly with DNA. Thanks very much.
How many viewers watching tonight could help solve a murder almost 20 years ago? Well, the answer is, I don't know how many so far, but something far more than we've anticipated, been willing to try. Our appeal was a long shot. It was to reawaken suspicions anyone's had about the rape and killing of a schoolgirl, Marion Crofts.
It's Marion's. It's her sponsorship form.
Mum? Mum? Oh my God. Marion! Marion!
20 years ago, I think it's over 100 calls now.
Well over 100 calls now, Nick, yes.
Andy, tell us what you've got from them.
Almost every one of those calls is nominating an individual. That's going to be a great boon to us. We've got 17,000 people in our database.
17,000?
17,000. We've now got somewhere to start. One individual's been put in by 4 separate people. He sounds very interesting.
4 separate people?
4 separate people.
In the area at the time?
In the area, and they're all from local people.
Now, again, this is a case where you've got DNA. This is something where, if it is the right man, then you can tell so instantly. If it's not, you can eliminate instantly.
Quickly eliminated.
You
Yes.
were going to say I interrupted you.
We've had information from the military, from local people, from within the prison service. Very, very encouraging result.
It's far more than we'd anticipated you get on this.
Far more than I thought as well. Very, very encouraging.
Thank you.
Now let me remind you about the hit and run case concerning Emma Holly last Wednesday. Now she was hit by a car which then drove off. Emma was killed. It was on the A338 at Downton between Salisbury and Bournemouth, and we're trying to find obviously the driver who hit her. Now it's a bit complicated this. We've had one young girl who rang in who knows someone who knows who burnt the car. That's the red VW, which is found burnt out in a field nearby. We've also had 2 more witnesses to the incident. Anyone else, if you know anything, please call in.
Our robber from Devon seemed to like travelling the country, and as so often happens in this case, a detective has rung us, this time from Hertfordshire, and he knows him, recognises him, can name him, and that's going to make the incident room very happy. And you remember Bernard Gibbs? Well, I've just had this put into my hand. We've had a call from another homeless man, and he's absolutely certain that he's in a hostel in Salisbury in Wiltshire. Police are hot-footing it there now.
Jessie Earle, an art student, went missing from Eastbourne, and it wasn't until 9 years later that her body was found. There's almost nothing to go on, and it still isn't entirely clear what happened to Jessie, but the suspicion now by the police is that she was murdered. I think you've had something like 20, 25 calls?
25. It's quite a very good response, and we've had one person phone up who was very brave, and in fact has talked about somebody very close to that person. And that we can contact tomorrow, so we're very pleased with that.
I mean, I must say, I really have been surprised at this volume of calls for a case where there was so little on. It was 2 decades old,
yes.
And these aren't just sort of vague suspicions. People are ringing in with really good information.
That's right, and they're describing jewellery that they've received from individuals that they're unhappy with.
Because Jess's watch was never found, and some rings were
and
never
her
found.
rings. That's right, and we've also had calls on exactly what they saw on certain times on the cliffs. So we've got things to follow up.
So this has really been reinvigorated, this inquiry?
Extremely so.
Good. Thank you.
Now, several names have been suggested for this man wearing a hard hat whilst defrauding banks in the City of London. Now, one viewer has given details of a man with criminal connections in the Coventry area, which actually fits with a line of inquiry not previously released. So let's hope that gets some success. And next, this man who disappeared with a lorry load of jewellery and mobile phones, not to mention someone else's identity. Well, I'm particularly disappointed with this. I really thought we'd catch him tonight. If you know who he is, please ring us tonight.
One of the most extraordinary cases we've ever covered is a man with a fetish for leather, but as we were saying in the main programme, there's nothing amusing about him. His fixation is so angry, so obsessional, that he's attacked 19 women just to steal gloves, and he does so with real ferocity. Andy, 70 calls at the last count. I don't know if that's gone up.
That's gone up. We've had in excess of 80 calls now.
With what sort? Tell us the most interesting ones for a
Most interesting calls we've had is one, the gentleman's phoned in regarding mobile phone calls that he's overheard between a male and a prostitute specialising in leather fetish. This man indicated he had further information for us before phoning off. We'd very much like to speak to him again if he could contact us, please.
We've got an e-fit of the guy who attacked one woman and actually strangled her until she was unconscious. I mean, it's ferocious violence, as I was saying. You've got names, have you?
We have got names. We've got names, the same name twice, as a result of the photo fit. And that man has also indicated that he's got a leather fetish. We're very, very interested in that line of inquiry.
Thank you.
The lines are open till midnight, and direct lines to incident rooms are on CFAX page 61. Our email address is simply crimewatchuk@bbc.co.uk. You can call Crime Stoppers anonymously if you want on 0800 555 111. And there's a victim support line with people there tonight until 2 a.m. The number's 0845 30 30 900.
And don't forget, there's still half an hour on the phones here and then all the incident rooms. It really has been a pretty grim catalogue of crimes tonight, I know. Some dating back, as we've been saying, 2 decades. But for all the difficulties, we really are getting somewhere. So please do keep calling if you've anything to add. Do join us next month, Tuesday, March the 21st. Don't have nightmares. Sleep well. Good night.
Good night.